What's going on, everybody? This is Eric, one part of the MiaMich. So, due to some technical issues that we had last week, our last episode wasn't able to actually upload. I'm sorry. Sometimes stuff just happens, so we're just going to kind of go on and just get through it. We're going on number 9, which is week 8 recap and a week 9 look ahead. A lot of good games last week, a lot of great scores, so let's just get right into it. First off, we'll start with Alabama beating Tennessee 34-20. That was a good game overall. Alabama starting to find their way inside of inside their season. I think they're really starting to come into their own, which is exactly what Nick Saban usually ends up doing about this time of year. Let's just keep an eye on that. Milroe is starting to find himself to be a really reliable quarterback, so we're going to kind of see what goes on. Just the remainder of the season. Of course, we're going to talk about Michigan. Michigan won 49-0 against Michigan State at Michigan State. I know there's a lot of controversy, and Jesus, if I have to hear it one more time, it's gonna make me just go crazy. But I think it's all a sham anyway. It's a sign stealing bullshit. Excuse my language, but it's the same thing that everyone has to deal with. It's just a witch hunt. That's all it is that I'm seeing. It's a witch hunt. They're upset that they couldn't nail us for something more because of that hamburger thing that we had in the beginning of the season, which we already took care of with a 3-game ban. But it doesn't matter because the NCAA always does this crap. They're always trying to slang their big old thing around, show that that they're more important, that it's their league, and that's why I'm just not a big fan of the NCAA in general, because it's the same thing. They just choose which team they want to go after, and unfortunately, they went after one of the biggest programs in the sport, most winningest program in history, and right now, they're thinking about negating some of the wins, and it's like it doesn't make any sense. Like, why are we really still doing this witch hunt right now? Where it's stupid. Anyway, I'm not getting into that. I'll probably get into it in the podcast down the road. But let's get right into the rest of these things. Florida State beat Duke 38-20, and honestly, Duke probably should have won that game. That score is not really what it was. Duke was in there. Leonard, the quarterback for Duke, was in for a while too, but then he ended up having to get out just because he was too hurt. He came into that game hurt, and if he stayed in that game, he was at 175%. Shit, I think Duke may have actually pulled this out. If anything, lost by 1 point. But Florida State now has a really easy schedule going the rest of the season, so we're going to see how that works, and we're going to see who they play in the ACC, because Miami just beat Clemson in the double overtime, 28-21. I'm pretty sure that score was. Excuse me, as I'm the most professional as I can be, but I'm kind of doing this at the last second, like a really good sports analyst does. But I just don't know. Florida State is just looking like they're a good team. I'm really interested to see how they kind of what happened. I'm trying to see how they bounce back and see what they ended up coming back and doing. 1 second as I look this up. I think Miami. Yeah, there it is. They won 20. Miami won 28-20 in double overtime, which was a great game. That was a really good game, and I think that says more about Miami than it does Clemson. Miami's defense stepped up, even though their offense tried to, lose that game. Bad game calling, bad game management at the end. Fourth quarter, where there was still time left for a drive, they decided to take it into overtime, which I think was just the biggest mistake. Mario Cristobal needs to get his stuff together, because if he keeps doing this questionable play calling, he's not going to be around much longer in Miami. Another big game that happened was Ohio State won 20-12 against Penn State, which honestly that score doesn't even really match it up. Ohio State beat them pretty good, and they were short like four players, a couple wide receivers, their star running back, and they still were able to pull out a win at Nittany Valley, whatever they're called, College Station, whatever the hell, who cares? Oh no, that's Texas A&M, Happy Valley. There it is, Happy Valley. I think is more this game said more about Penn State kind of not being as good as everyone kind of anticipated. They have a great defense, I'll give them that, but their offense is still the same. It's always you can beat your lesser competition, but you can't beat the competition you need to beat. It kind of reminds me of how Michigan was before Jim Harbaugh, even in Jim Harbaugh's first 3-4 years, where it's, okay, we can beat the lesser competition, but we can't beat Ohio State. We can't beat Penn State. Now it's Penn State's in that. They can't beat Michigan. They can't beat Ohio State. They're going to probably lose another game next week Not this upcoming week, but next week, because they have Michigan, and Michigan's not looking like they're slowing down anytime soon. Um, so that's going to be interesting to see. Big Ten is wide open still. If Penn State were to upset Michigan, we could have a three-way tie at the end of the year, and then it's just a big cluster like it used to be. But we're going to kind of keep an eye on that. I don't think Penn State's that much of a threat. I don't see them as a top 10 team, top 15, but not top 10 team. They're just not. They're good. They're a good team, but they're not an elite team. And I think they got to stop getting praise. And so they kind of had that Texas treatment where it's stop getting praise until you show me something. Last game I want to go over was Utah beating USC 34-32 in a baller of a game. That game was absolutely crazy. And if you have to go back and watch one game and just watch the highlights or the full game, go watch Utah versus USC. It was the most beautiful football you could ask for. Game-winning field goal to end the game. USC again can't beat Utah. Utah again showing that, hey, I think they're going to win the Pac-12 because they show that they want that win. And that's impressive. It really is. It's impressive to see this, a Utah team that's without their star quarterback, and they're still pulling out wins. They're still going out and beating who they have to beat. And they have a really big game this week, what I'm going to get into after the rankings. And it's just, keep an eye open for Utah. I think Utah has one or two losses of the season already, and I don't think that even matters because if they win the Pac-12, that's a guaranteed Rose Bowl, and that alone is a big, big, big thing for that program. I mean, it'd be a big thing for Michigan, too, if we went to the Rose Bowl. Rose Bowl is still a prestigious program, whether, people like to say it or not. It's still a very, very, very big bowl game for a lot of players. Yeah, I'm just looking it up right now just so I can... Yeah, they have one loss on the season, so they're still national championship hopefuls, too. So they can go ahead and win out. Never say never. It's college football. Never say never in college football because anything can happen on any given Saturday. I just want to kind of get into the rankings real quick. Yeah, again, excuse me for the very lackluster... the very lackluster preparing that I have. Usually I have everything ready to go, but unfortunately I've just been really, really busy with work and, coaching on my own side as well. All right, there we go. So let's go ahead and get to the standings. We'll see all the shakeups. So we have Georgia, Michigan, Ohio State, Florida State, all 1 through 4. Nothing changed there yet. But watch Michigan. Michigan's starting to gain a lot of points to get in that first place. And in all honesty, I really do see it. Michigan is 1, Georgia is 2, and Ohio State is 3. Michigan's winning. And they're not just winning. They are destroying teams that they're supposed to destroy amongst controversy a lot, as well. And it's one of those where it's like, what else do you have to do as a team to get ranked number 1? Given it's lesser competition, but when you're going into Michigan State, which isn't it's not a great football program. They're going through their own thing with Mel Tucker, as it is. But going in and just shutting them out 49-0, in all honesty, they could have scored 50, 60 plus if they wanted to, and they just didn't. They showed mercy. Joe Klatt says it best. They're a boa constrictor, and they can beat anybody they want. They have the offensive line that could really just stagnate any team. They can just wring them dry, they could choke them out, and then they're just going to win in the second half. And that's what they do every single game. They're going to just slowly just chip away, make you tired, make you have to do your substitutions, make your third, fourth, fifth players, your strings get in there. And then after that, there's Donovan Edwards who can go catch something. There's Blake Corum who can go run right up the middle. Or there's JJ who's, leading the Heisman Trophy conversation, in my opinion, who can go ahead and run or pass all over any team. I heard this stat too, where he's only had 4 complete passes in the fourth quarter, or he's only had 4 passes in the fourth quarter because they're blowing teams out to where he doesn't even have to play in the fourth quarter. Is that not enough? Is that not enough for you to look at this and be like, okay, yeah, maybe this team is it. Maybe this is the one that they get a national championship. So, that's why I'm just saying that. Let me get back into this so I don't go off on the stray about, Michigan go blue all day. Number 5, 6, 7, and 8, we have Washington, Oklahoma. Texas is at 7, right behind Oklahoma. I disagree with that. I think Texas is overrated still. I think it's the same thing where they're going to lose one or two more games this season, and then next year everyone's going to be like, is Texas back? Like they have for, what, since 2005, 2004, that season when they went to the national championship and had one of the best games there was, which was a great game, don't get me wrong, but we're going on 10 years ago, and it's like, okay. No, we're almost on 20. I'm sorry, we're almost on 20 years ago. Where's time gone? We're almost on 20 years ago, and Texas has been a okay team at best, and that's putting it very lightly. They're no Georgia, they're no Michigan, they're no Alabama, they're not even a Texas A&M. I just don't see Texas as being that team yet, but they still have a lot more to go. They have a couple more games in the season, so we're going to see what they can pull out. Number 8, we have Oregon. 9 is Alabama, getting back in the top 10. 10 is Penn State, only dropping 3, which was kind of impressive. I think they're more doing that for that Michigan Penn State matchup where a lot of teams are just looking at that, and I think they're just trying to keep them really highly ranked. That way it's just, it's a better TV draw. I think Penn State's a top 15. I think they'd be at 15. A loss to Michigan next week, I think, would definitely get them out of the top 10 for sure. 11, 12, 13, 14, we have Oregon State at 11, Ole Miss at 12, Utah at 13, one loss, and Notre Dame at 14 with 2 losses, which I actually got really interested with. It's the pro of being able to, A, blow out USC a week ago, and B, scheduling that tough schedule. They're 6-2, and they face some pretty good teams. They beat a really good Duke team. They beat a really good USC team, and they lost to Ohio State by a possession. And this is a great team, which, if they went out, if they got into the top 6, it wouldn't surprise me at all. Notre Dame's a good football program, good football team. I'm a Michigan guy through and through. That's a rivalry. But I have no issue saying that. I think Notre Dame's going to be fine. They'll probably have a 10-2 season and then go into a bowl game at, maybe the Sugar Bowl or wherever they're going to end up put in. It's kind of the Achilles heel, too, is I'm not having a conference championship to where if, they went into the ACC, they win the ACC championship, you're guaranteed, an Orange Bowl or something like that. But they'll get into a New Year's Six Bowl regardless. It's Notre Dame. It's a big-name program, and, of course, they're always going to want to try to get them. Next up at 15, we have LSU going up 4 spots. They're starting to get more traction after the loss to after the loss to FSU and the loss to Ole Miss early in the season. They came and beat Missouri, beat Auburn, destroyed Army 62-0 that last week. It's good to see them getting back some traction. They can still find themselves in it too. They run the schedule. They go and face. Who do they play? Do they play Georgia or they have at Alabama next week. They beat Alabama, win the rest of their schedule, which is Florida, Georgia State, and Texas A&M. They face Georgia, win it. Who knows? They can probably get in there. We've already seen the college football playoff is very biased with SEC programs, and they'll easily put 1 or 2 in there. That's just how they are. It's how they've always been. Same with the BCS. If you're in the SEC, you're guaranteed a 1 or 2 spot. We've had LSU with 2 losses go to a national championship and win it. So anything's possible with that program too, and they're starting to get traction. Behind them at 16, we have Missouri. 17 is is North Carolina, who just got just upsetted by Virginia 31. 31-17, I think it was, or 31-27. Man, that was just I wouldn't. Yeah, no, I'll say it. That was embarrassing. It's an embarrassing loss. That was a 1-win program who is now 2 wins of the season. You're one of them. Overrated. North Carolina's overrated. They're all going off of May at the quarterback position, and that's exactly who's going to actually either win or lose them their season. And I just don't see them really being that good of a team, in all honesty. They'll be 9-win season, which would be great. That Miami win is okay at best, but that's their biggest signature win, and that now they got Georgia Tech at Georgia Tech. They still got Duke, they still got Clemson, they still got NC State. It's going to be interesting. If they want to make an ACC championship, they're going to have to make something happen and make something happen quick. 18, we have Louisville, who went up 3 spots. 19 is Air Force, who's still undefeated, baby. Keep an eye on Air Force. I wouldn't be shocked in the least bit if they ran the table and went undefeated. They only have Colorado State next versus Army, at Hawaii versus UNLV, and at a very teetering Boise State team. That's the New Year's Six Bowl if you go undefeated, Air Force, and I'm here for it. Commander in Chief trophy and all. Like I'm a big Air Force guy. I had family go, and it's always been one of my favorite branches. But Air Force military, you always got to support it. Number 20, we have Duke, who dropped 4. 21 is Tennessee, who dropped 4. 22, Tulane. Only loss in the season is Ole Miss. They can run the table easily. It's a good football team. They gave Ole Miss a fight. So I love seeing that they're 22. I wouldn't be upset if they got into the teens. I think they're a 14, 15 seed, just because of their schedule, and I think that'd be really good for that program as well. 23 is UCLA. They went up to 24 is USC, who is just not having fun right now. Back-to-back losses. It's a blowout. Notre Dame, 2-point loss to Utah. They have at California. Next week they have to go against Washington, at Oregon versus UCLA. Having those 2 losses that they just had, and that wasn't even the grueling part of their schedule yet. I don't know, man. I think USC can pull it out this week, but I don't see them beating Oregon. I don't see them beating Washington, which, Washington is teetering, especially after barely winning last week when they just went up against Arizona State and they needed a pick 6 to seal that game, 15-7. I think it's one of those where we got to keep an eye on that. That could be a good game, but I just kind of think like USC's time might not just be, it's just not their time. It's one of those. Caleb Williams was still having a great season, but that defense is just atrocious. Awful. Just watching missed tackle after missed tackle, blown coverages, passing. You can pass on that team all day. These nobody schools, San Jose State, no offense to San Jose State, but they passed all over USC. Who's San Jose State to pass all over USC at the beginning of the season? And it hasn't gotten any better. 25 is undefeated James Madison. Good for them, by the way. Good for them. They could also run the table. They have Old Dominion, Georgia State, UConn, App State, Coastal Carolina. Good for them. It's always good. I think this is their first year in the FBS, and going undefeated in the Sun Belt, it's good for them, man. That's good stuff. You win the Sun Belt a couple of years, get out of that conference, maybe go over to a Big 12 or AAC or anything like that, and just kind of see what happens. Good for that program. Great for that. All right, let's look ahead this next week. So this week that we have coming up, I have a couple games that are key games real quick. First things first, Michigan has a bye week. So it's NCAA at Michigan this week. And man, am I getting sick of that shit. But the real game we have that I'm looking forward to is Georgia versus Florida. Florida, 2 losses on the season. One was against a good Utah team. The other one was against, I don't even remember who the other one was against. Unfortunately, I haven't really been keeping up with my Florida Gators like that. My dad's team, not mine. Who did they lose against? They lost against Kentucky. They got beat up by Kentucky. Then they went on to beat Vanderbilt, beat North Carolina. And this is a Georgia team who's not looking great. This is a Georgia team where I think Bowers is out, the starting tight end. He was hurt. I'm not sure if he's playing. I would love an upset here. I would love Florida to go ahead and get that upset. Napier needs that upset more than anybody in the college football right now. I'm interested to see how this goes. I'm really hoping that Florida can pull out that upset because I think, A, Georgia's overrated, and B, I would just love to see Michigan go and take that number 1 spot finally, especially after a bye week. Excuse me. I just want to check something real quick because I was trying to see. Yeah, it is this week. Another game that I'm going to throw out there just for Danny, who couldn't be here today. Miami, Virginia. Danny will be at the Miami-Virginia game. Miami should win this game by at least 30 points, but they'll still try to cough it up. I guarantee there's another clock management issue. Guarantee it. I guarantee it. I wouldn't be surprised if it lost them the game again, and this is a whole conversation, going around Cristobal and being like, can he be a good time management coach? Is he doing the right play calling? And how much of it is on him compared to how much of it is on the OC, how much of it is on, whoever's there. I need Miami to win this game. I really want them to win this game. I want them to keep whatever little bit of hope in the ACC that they have alive. But unfortunately, I just don't think, they're not going to blow a team out. I just don't see them doing that. I don't know if Tyler Van Dyke is going to be back or not. I know he was hurt last week, but, that offensive line is keeping them alive. And they're about to go against their grueling stretch. They have at North Carolina after this, at Florida State, versus Louisville, and at Boston College to close out the season. And they're eighth in the ACC right now. If they win out, they're good. But if they don't, they lose one more game, they're out of the ACC, and then here it is, another Miami season. I hope they don't lose. That's what I'll throw out there. I'm gonna say maybe a close game. Miami might win 31-28, one of those kind of games, and it's one of those where it's like it'll probably be like a blowout towards the fourth, and then bad clock management will get Virginia back into it. By the way, Florida, Georgia, I want Florida to win 28-24. Last minute shit. That's just what I want. Another game, which is this is the game of the week right here. Oregon at Utah. Great game. Bo Nix against this Utah team who has the momentum on their side. Leading, winner is going to be the leading favorite in the Pac-12 race. This is going to be a great game. I think this is a shootout, 48-45. And you know what? I'm giving it to Oregon. I really think, if Noah was here, he'd be praising them. But I really think this Oregon Ducks team is going to win the Pac-12. But if Utah can pull out this win, we're talking real big cash money. And then they still have to go against Washington, but they have to win today, Saturday. They have to win and then really not win impressively, but show that they can have a defense that can stop any kind of Pac-12 team that's going in their way. A couple more games. We have Duke at Louisville. Both ranked opponents. Louisville has one loss. Duke has two. Both in the ACC conversation for championship contention. That's going to be a good game. I really do. I want to see if Leonard is actually going to play. That is going to be a big faction. That's going to be the contributor right there because they're going to win or lose with their quarterback. I think Louisville takes care of business. I like this Louisville team. I think this Louisville team is really, really good and underrated. They're going in. They're one of two teams that beat Notre Dame, and the other one was Ohio State. That's pretty big, and that's pretty good. And I think, Louisville, just that home field advantage is what's really going to get them. I think Louisville will probably get this one. I think this is a low-scoring 21-14. I'll say a 7-point game. And last but not least, this one is a personal favorite because this is my upset of the week. Ohio State at Wisconsin. Before you go on and just give me all, the Michigan guy just can't let Ohio State win. He just can't give them props. Ohio State's a good team this year. They are not the most well-rounded team this year. Wisconsin, it's at Wisconsin. Wisconsin is a solid team. Now, Wisconsin can get blown out right now and then lose 49-0 and Ohio State makes a mark. Absolutely possible. 100%. But what I think is really going to happen here is I think Wisconsin's defense is going to step up. Ohio State might overlook them, and I think that's the big key factor. And I think that's when Wisconsin can probably pull out a nice little, 24-17, 24-20 win at home because that's the biggest factor. I believe this is a noon kickoff game too, which is even... I'm just going to double check that right now so that way I have my facts right. It's not. It's a night game. It's a night game at the bounce house, man. No, I'm sorry. That's USC. I don't remember what Wisconsin calls their thing. But Camp Randall Stadium at night, 7:30. That's going to be a big game, and Wisconsin needs that win. They're up there for the West title right now, and I think that's big. That's really big. I didn't realize it was at night. So 7:30 on NBC. Go check that out. And I'm still going Wisconsin. It's that night game where I think that's really going to be the big factor in them winning this. And I think Ohio State, they can afford a loss. It's okay. You're not going to go undefeated. It's not going to happen. You're going to face Michigan anyway. But the big game. Big game. And I'm really excited to see this game. I think this one might be the biggest game of the whole week. Oh, man, I'm excited. I'm not going to lie. I didn't realize it's 7:30, so that makes it even better. Just a couple final mentions real quick before I get out of here. The Michigan crap needs to stop. Give us a bullshit penalty. Fine us. We didn't do anything wrong. Stop with the crap, NCAA. Go away. Stop slinging. Stop slinging that thing around like your big daddy. It's ridiculous. It's one school after the other and it's just a witch hunt because you guys want more and more money. You guys are upset Alabama's not going to win a national championship this year, and that's your big money cow. Leave us alone. Enough's enough. Go blue. That's all I'm really going to say about that. And another thing, Coach Prime and the Buffs are going against UCLA. My Prime watch is back. I want Coach Prime to win this game. I want them to win against a ranked team. I think they can beat UCLA. They're 4-3 in the season. Colorado is, and I want them to win a bowl game. I mean, they're already 4 wins or 3 wins more than they had last season, so that's already 4 times the 4 times the winning percentage. So that's going to be their Coach Prime watch for that game. There's nothing else I really want to go over. This week has been kind of a cluster, so I do apologize. We are little background info. We are actually getting Marvelous Mates going, so I'm full time on that. Full time on doing my solo stuff here as well, along with working and coaching and all the other fun stuff. So I do apologize for the mix up and last week's episode not going up. I don't know why. It's just been a little bit of an issue with just programming, I guess. I don't know. I'm hoping this one goes up fine, no issues, and then we can go right back onto our schedule. But anyways, ladies and gentlemen, I appreciate you guys coming out so much. We're gonna be back next week. Have fun this weekend at college football, baby. We're getting the end of the season, which sucks, but we still have all of November, the rest of October, and then we have bowl season coming right around the corner, which I can't wait to do those picks. Stay safe out there, everyone. Take care. Have fun, and please make sure you like, subscribe, and all that fun stuff to this. Go check out the Leaky Lounge podcast, and along with Don't Laugh Gaming on my side, and get ready for Marvelous Mates. Go check out Captain Peaches so you can get some updates on that. Everyone, take care. Pieces.